Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Saturday morning, so this is usually when I'll make my video bank for the week. But I wanted to talk about learning to love yourself. Like, it's talked about a lot in like sober communities, no drinking communities. Like, it's like that old cliche saying, you have to love yourself before you can love anyone else, and it's sort of true. There's a lot of precedent to that. Same when it comes to like drugs and alcohol. You're not fully loving yourself and realizing your full potential. You're like damaging yourself. You're bringing yourself down. You know it subconsciously. But yeah, like there's many ways you can improve self-love. I still struggle with it to this day, but I've gotten much better at it, especially during my sober times in my most recent 7 months. Definitely the gym and working out is one way to really like boost your confidence and like your physical presence. When I was bigger, my physical presence bothered me, and it constantly was like a hindrance, like having that, this being overweight so much and, people making comments. I really don't care what people think, but it's just the fact that my body was presented that way, it was bothersome. You just have to diet and you have to work out in that sense. And then mentally, you love yourself, like no one's harder on me than I am on myself. And that's the truth. Anything anyone's ever said to me negatively, I've already batched it up 1,000 times in my head. You know what I mean? Like me being bald when I was fat, like there was nothing anyone could say that I haven't already ran through my head, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Like, you're just harder on yourself than anyone could ever be, right? And if you're not, you should be. There's pros and cons to that. You shouldn't always have self-doubt. But you have to be hard on yourself, too. Still having this upper respiratory issue. I'm not coughing as bad, though. So yeah, learning to self-love. Work on your physical and mental fitness. Like, constantly be gaining knowledge when you have time. It's hard. Sometimes you're just tired. Physically, like today I have leg day and I do calisthenics. I don't want to do it. I'm going to force myself to do it. If you get through the harder days, the easier days are that much easier. And I'm like always tired. My sleep is not the best. That's a whole other topic. Sleep is very important. So if you're sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day, you're doing good. My sleep is very sporadic. I'm up multiple times throughout the night. My sleep is horrible. That's something I don't know. Maybe sleep apnea. I don't think it's that, but I should look into it. If I can improve my sleep, I think my life will get drastically better. Also, another topic is caffeine. I drink way too much caffeine. Like way too much. And that's supplementing with, I think it's alcohol. Like you go from one extreme to another. Like it went from alcohol on the weekends to now I abuse caffeine, right? And caffeine's not going to destroy me like alcohol would. So it's a much better habit to have, but it's still not good for you to overconsume caffeine. But I drink straight black coffee, so it's not like energy drinks or like creamer and sugar filled junk. It's like the cleanest way to consume caffeine, in my opinion. But anyway, that's a whole other video. But yeah, I still struggle with self-love. I always doubt myself, but I get through it. I'm always bashing myself mentally. I'm sure a lot of people do this. It's just common, but the better you get at negating that and the more you do, like I said, physically and mentally, you'll overcome it. What's that saying from Hunter S. Thompson? He who makes a beast of himself loses the pain of being a man. I believe in that. Like, the more I do physically and mentally, the less I feel like I'm just common and like, I want to, like David Goggins says, be uncommon amongst uncommon men. Like, these guys push themselves so far that they can't even relate to like common feelings anymore. You know what I mean? And then Wes Watson, acquire what you admire. Like, I love watching these guys. They're very motivational and they live it. They're very wealthy and very physically inclined. So those are some people you should look up. But, yeah, I don't know how to fully get past it. I don't know if everyone ever fully gets past it. I mean, these guys have to have self-doubt still. They might not talk about it much, but mentally it's got to be there. David Goggins, I don't know about him, man. I don't know if he ever has that. That guy's a beast mentally and physically. Absolutely love his book, too. I recommend buying his book. And I recommend checking out Wes Watson's channel on YouTube. Yeah, it's a process. It takes time. You just have to push yourself and keep achieving and keep progressing. And I think that helps self-love and realize, like, there are things in my life I've overcame, and I look back and be like, wow, like, I was actually pretty strong. And you have to give yourself the benefit, when you look back at those things that you got through. A lot of people just don't think about that stuff, and they're constantly doubting themselves and putting themselves down. Think of the things you got through and realize from like a third person perspective, like you're a game character or something, like, wow, like that dude's pretty dang strong, right? I do that. I try to do that when I can. And a lot of people are much stronger when you look at their past, and people don't hold accountability to that or really take credence to that. But people get through a lot of things, man. People are very resilient in many ways, mentally and physically. It's impressive. Also, like, the people you surround yourself with, if you're constantly around negative and toxic people, it's going to bring you around. It's like, if you're around trash all the time, you're going to start smelling like trash. You got to cut those people out. Like, if anyone's overly negative or toxic, like, I erase them from my existence. You know what I mean? But whether it be a family member or a friend or an acquaintance, it don't matter who you are. Like, I just won't mess with you. It's that simple. Why have that in your life? And there are a lot of people like that. They're constantly doubting people and like being negative towards people. Or if you know what ad hominem is, like, they constantly attack people's character or their physical appearance. Like, those people need to they're projecting and they have an issue in their own life. Everyone projects once in a while, right? But some people, like, they're constantly doing it to everybody because a lot of people online are like this. They're so miserable in real life and out in the grass that they sit behind a screen and they just spout filth and negativity because they're so miserable in their own life. Even in like video games, like Call of Duty's one of them. Like, a lot of these kids that talk trash, I guarantee, grown men too, they're overweight, financially unstable, don't have anything, but on there, they'll run their mouths, and a lot of them aren't even good in the games, and it's like, it's sort of pathetic. Like, it's fun to trash talk and stuff, but like, in reality, like, when you zoom out and look at the big picture of how these people are living, it's quite pathetic, you know what I mean? But that is what it is. I used to be, many years ago, like, financially, in a crappy situation, fat, and, gaming took credence. Like, I'd game, when I was young, 10, 12 hours a day plus. World of Warcraft, Counter-Strike, and I love gaming. I still game more than I should, but finances and physical comes first now. Like, the gym and work will always come first before it. And partying used to come first before either of those, and partying's out of the way now. Partying don't look so cute when you're in your 30s. So, like, now that I've been sober, that's been out of the way. And that'll just hold you back in general all across the board, financially and physically. But that's out of the way. Finances and physical are so much easier to deal with. But they take precedent. Like, I don't care if there's a new game drop. Like, if there's something I'm hyped for, I'm still going to the gym. While people are sitting there gaming, I'm working out, or I'm working 10-hour days. You know, I couldn't care less. Yeah, I want a game. I still am a nerd. I love gaming. I love it. But I'm not going to be one of those dudes that sits there 10 hours a day and lets their life spiral out, you know, or sponge off a family. A lot of these kids are, you know, 19, 20, 21. They're not paying no bills, man. They're being taken care of, and they're draining their parents. They're just sitting there all day playing random video games, and I just don't agree with it. I never did that to begin with. I've always worked and paid my share, always fed myself after the age of 19, you know. And there's probably grown men in their 30s. I know a few that still don't pay for their own groceries and stuff. It's pathetic. And they still don't even have an asset to their name. But now I'm going off into a whole other tangent. Like, people like that need to grow up and start, you know, they just need to grow up and, like, have a brain and learn how to handle their finances. Like, people with, like, 500 credit score, no savings, no assets, and they're, like, in their mid-30s, and they're living off of their mommy and daddy, or, like, even their girlfriends. I know a dude that barely helps his girlfriend, and she has, like, 3 kids, and he barely pitches in. It's like, wow. And he'll make statements like, if I ever have my own kid, like, she can increase her welfare. I ain't paying for that kid. Like, man, how? I just can't believe people like this exist. If I had a kid, I'd be working 60-hour weeks. I'd be selling off whatever I had to, but I already have a pretty good nest egg to, like, handle that kind of stuff. But I'm not in that situation.
You know, we have a coworker that likes to live with a girl because he can't afford his place on his own.
Yeah.
He'd rather go to the bar.
Oh yeah, codependent people that live at the bar that waste all their money and never have money, and they're in their 40s, you know. And it's sad. And when I'm that age, dude, I'm already light years ahead of these people, and I'm gonna be in another galaxy when I'm their age. That's how you got to look at things. This is a whole other video, but I'm gonna talk about how, like, you got to think a year, 2, 5 years down the line. Not a week, not a day. A lot of people are stuck thinking about the present day. You got to think a week, a month, year, 5 years. And you know what I mean? Like, I know how much money I'm going to accrue in the next year to 5 years, and I'm going to put that in and stabilize it. No, I'm not going. No, I don't. Thank you. But yeah, people are so stuck in thinking about, like, so present. They don't think about their future. You know, they're so stuck in this day to day, and you got to think way out. You know what I mean? I know my car loan's paid off in 2 years, and that's $430 a month. I can accrue to other assets. You know what I mean? And what's sad is a lot of people that I know that work full time don't even have that in their savings. So, like, once my car loan's paid off, I'm even going to be that far ahead of them, and my car is still going to be worth $20,000. Even if it declines in value in the next 3 years down to like 17, I don't care. That's still an asset I have, and I could flip it for a whole new car and have like a $5,000 car loan, which I could pay off with 0% in 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? I'm setting myself up with everything, and there's people my age that have no credit, no asset, $60,000 in debt, so on and so forth, whatever. It's like, it's mind-boggling to me. And they won't be out of that until they're in their 40s, and by that time, I'm already smoked down the lane, you know what I mean? But enough about that. Like, I just changed when I was in my 20s, I was like that. I didn't care about finances, credit score. I just partied. You know, I've always had, like, a savings and whatnot. And then I went broke. But the past, like, even when I was drinking in my 30s, I've financially and physically, I stepped up even with the drinking. But getting the drinking out just, like, turned me into, like, a superhuman with this stuff. Like, and I always knew that the key to me getting to that next level was cutting out the drinking. I always knew that. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way. And once that's gone, especially the self-love, because I'm going to go off on another tangent. This video is getting way too long. But secretly, when you're drinking or taking drugs, you're like silently trying to kill yourself. I think there were nights when I would sit here drinking a bottle. I think subconsciously I was hoping I wouldn't wake up the next day. I think there was a part of me that didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of people are that way. Like, they're drowning themselves, or they're like just slowly killing themselves with drugs, and they know that, and they don't care. And it's sad to say that. There was a part of just being in complete destruction while drinking, like being incoherent and just not caring and going out and doing risky stuff that I was addicted to. And it's like you thrive in the misery, you know what I mean? Like the next day when you're hungover and you just blow everyone off, like you're addicted to that kind of stuff. Like, you just don't care, you know? And when you're sober, you're held accountable more. You have to go and do things, you know, and you get better at that in time. It's not easy. Like, I loved when I was drinking, and I loved just not having to deal with people. Like, I had an excuse, like, oh, I'm hungover. Oh, I drank last night. Or like, oh, I'd lie and be like, I'm busy when I'm just laying around. I've done that stuff, and it was no one's business. I wasn't hurting anybody, but you miss out on a lot too. I missed out on a lot of events, family gatherings, and you look back and you might lose loved ones down the line that you could have spent more time with, you know, stuff like that. But there is a part of substance abuse where you are self-sabotaging, and I think there is a subconscious trait to it that people are addicted to. I'm sure you can relate to that. When you're pounding mixed drinks, when you're, you know, doing any type of inhaling drug, injectable, there's a part of you, I think, that doesn't care if you die, or you know you're slowly dying from it, you know? And it's sad because that's where self-love needs to come in. You need to realize that you're hurting yourself, and you don't realize it when you're actively doing these things. You just don't care, right? But once you get some sober time, you'll look back and realize how hindering it was to your health, and like how sad it is, you know? It's very sad. Self-love is a very hard thing, you know? And people that, another video here again, I'm like branching off. I'm going to cut this video soon. But a lot of people, I'm losing my train of thought. When people are using these drugs like this, they're trying to escape and forget, right? And you want to get your life to the point where you don't want to escape it. You want to thrive in being clear-headed, not having fog brain, and not having to use a substance. You want to wake up and enjoy your life. Yeah, I don't want to work every day, but when I'm at home, I love what I've built for myself, and I love that I, you know, don't have to go and get alcohol and whatnot like that. Even if your self-love is in a very detrimental place, if you get sober and try to train yourself and work on it, it will get easier in time. I'm still working on it. It's still very hard for me. And I still have a lot of anger issues from like quitting nicotine and alcohol. Like when I was drinking and stuff, I wouldn't get as angry throughout the week because I had my vices. Like that shut-off switch. That's something I'm dealing with, and I hope gets better in time. I can't just go and puff a cigarette, puff a vape, smoke some. I don't smoke no weed. You know, I don't go and have a few beers at night like some people do. You know, I don't have that vice. My vice is getting into the gym now and breaking myself down mentally and just getting it out. You know what I mean? Sorry that, you know, we're coughing and stuff. We're both sick. I don't know, whatever I have, it's been like this for like 3 weeks now, and it's brutal. I think we got what your brother had. I think this is what your brother had. Your mom got it, and I think it's affecting, like, because your brother had it for weeks. Brutal cough, upper respiratory. But yeah, this video is 20 minutes. This went on way too long, but a lot of other topics I'm going to touch on in other videos. I don't like doing that, but I go off on a tangent. But hopefully you like watching. Try to love yourself more. You're stronger than you know. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. And there's thousands of people online that will prove that to you. There's people that overcame the odds. They were told they wouldn't be able to get sober. They wouldn't be able to do this. They wouldn't be able to do that. Thrive off of doubt and failure, okay? You have to. You can't just succumb to it. When someone tells me I can't do something, I'm going to do it to shut them up and prove them wrong and make them sit and go, wow, this dude ain't what I thought. I thrive in that. I was told I won't be able to quit drinking. Did it. Never be able to quit smoking. Did it. I'd be fat the rest of my life. Got skinny and pretty jacked. You know what I mean? Overcome the odds and use it and talk about it and help other people, because it's all I want from these videos is to touch one person. And I made a few videos that one weekend and like 10 to 15 people reached out to me saying it helped them. I'm fine with that. These videos could not have any views at all. I don't care. As long as these reach one person and they can relate to it and maybe apply it to their own life. There's thousands of people making videos like this. I just want mine to be raw and organic. I'm not going to edit it. It's going to be straight from the heart. I'm a common dude with a common job, and I'm doing it. I don't have a trust fund. I don't have millions of dollars in YouTube ad revenue. You know what I'm saying? I work 10-hour days. I've acquired what I have through hard labor. And I did it. I cut 120 pounds. I quit these vices, and it's not easy, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. So yeah, take it easy. Love yous.